Hey, so one day when I was scrolling into my YouTube dashboard, I came across this poster, and I have decided to challenge myself and turn it into an animated version. So, this was the final result. Stay with me as I show you the process of the design and animation. Now, let's begin. So, I brought the image into After Effects and I made a composition out of it. And I ignored the elements such as light bulb or flowers. So the first thing I needed to do was to create the lines. So on the first look, I said that I can make this with a repeater. So I started to draw a line. Now the bottom line of the stroke were narrower compared to the top, so I used the taper to adjust its start and end positions. Now on the second step, I added the repeater. I increased the copies and I set the position on 0. Well, the result wasn't something that I wanted. So now it was time for me to try another plan. I really didn't want to design everything from scratch with the pen tool as it would take a lot of time. So then an idea came to my mind to use the index and create a sort of flower shape for myself. So I created another shape and I changed its color. Then I went into rotation and I wrote index -1 multiplied by 30. So that means whenever I duplicate the shape layer 1, it just rotates it for 30 degrees based on the anchor point. So I have placed the anchor point at the bottom and then I duplicated the shape one more time. This time the distance were too far, so I reduced the number to 50. Now everything was good. So I made 25 layers and I started to change the colors and color label each line. And also I increased the scale to fit the lines. When I finished color labeling the lines, it was time for me to add gradients to the design. Stacking color gradients with layer styles can give you a fantastic result. So I used different shades of original colors. So I fixed the start and end position of each gradient. By the way, I have an entire guide dedicated to styling in Adobe After Effects, which you can watch it now. So I needed to do this step for all of the 25 layers. And to be honest, it took almost 10 minutes to do it, but there was no choice. Now that I finished adding the gradients to the first set of lines, I decided to add a null object and place it at the bottom. And I parented everything to it. Now, this time instead of keyframing, I added a simple time multiplied by 24 expression. Now the lines were animated, but I still needed to add the gradients to the pink colors. So I adjusted the colors. Now that the lines were animated, I added the background. I also added the gradient ramp effect and I added a purple color to it. Now it was time to animate the text. So I used the Open Sans font, which was close to the original font, and I recreated the texts. And then in Animate menu, I added a simple position property. I pushed the text down, but in order to make it work, I needed a mask. So I drew a mask around the area I wanted to hide and I set the mask on invert. Then I animated using the start value. Lastly, I changed the word appearance to the words in the advanced settings. I did the same thing for the second and the third one. When the animation was done, I duplicated the text and I moved them towards the right by 10 pixels to add a bit more 3D depth to them. Now, the text was done, it was time to add the final style to the design. So I selected one of the shape layers and I added the inner shadow to it. I changed the light to the right and I changed the blend mode to overlay. Then I added the satin effect and I also set the mode to overlay. Lastly, I added the drop shadow effect. I changed the mode to overlay, I increased the spread to 25, the distance to 50 and the size to 20. Lastly, I copied the layer style and I pasted it to everything except the background. And voila, we have this animation. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed this video, please subscribe as it helps me out a lot for the future content. Thank you so much. Goodbye.